What's going on, y'all? It's Traco from Traco ENT, and the theme of today is Miami. My hometown, home city, favorite place to be. You know what it is. So, in talking about Miami, the 305, Dade County, you know what I'm talking about, home of the Miami Heat, Miami Marlins, Miami Dolphins, unfortunately.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
What's going on, y'all? It's Traco from Traco ENT, and the theme of today is Miami. My hometown, home city, favorite place to be. You know what it is. So, in talking about Miami, the 305, Dade County, you know what I'm talking about, home of the Miami Heat, Miami Marlins, Miami Dolphins, unfortunately sometimes, the University of Miami, them Hurricanes, you know what I'm talking about, the home of Traco. In order to talk about Miami, the reason why Miami is the theme of today is because the Miami Heat just took a 2-0 lead over the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Can we talk about it? Okay, Bam Adebayo with the block.
Jason Tatum is clearly by everybody else, high above the rim. Looks like it's going to be an easy dunk, and Bam says, not in my house.
There. Can we talk about Jimmy Butler or Goran Dragic hitting the three-pointer over there? Can we talk about it? All right. So, because I'm so excited to talk about my hometown, today's theme is to talk about my 3 favorite movies based in Miami, right? Number 1 is Bad Boys 1. Bad Boys 2 was all right. Bad Boys 3 was not needed, but hey, I'll take it. Trilogies are a thing. Quadrilogies maybe coming up, who knows? Number 2, my number 2 movie based in Miami is Any Given Sunday. Any Given Sunday was that deal. My name is Willie Beam, you know what I'm talking about? Starring Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J. All right, we'll get into that. And then my number 3 favorite movie of all times that is based off in Miami is Scarface. All right, Scarface starring Al Pacino. The hood classic. I would like to say the American classic because I don't know anybody who's never seen Scarface. And if you haven't, please go look Scarface up. And how are you on my page? Aren't you too young to be here? Let's talk about it. So, the only thing is, I have to acknowledge this movie because it was not based in Miami, but I believe it started in Jamaica and then came to Miami. It's Shottas. I've seen it twice before. I'm not an expert on it, so I'm not going to disrespect the culture, all right? But Shottas is a hood classic. If you have the time, go look Shottas up. Also, it is free on Tubi, on the Tubi app, Tubi, okay? I started watching it early again today. I got busy, so I couldn't really watch it. But Shottas is another hood classic. Please go check that movie out. All right. So, number 1, Bad Boys. What is it? Bad Boys is a movie starring Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. I had to say Martin Lawrence first because when Bad Boys first came out, Martin Lawrence was the bigger star than Will Smith was. If you know, Bad Boys 3, on the posters, Will Smith is the bigger name. His name comes first because he's now the bigger star. All right, but Martin Lawrence is the one who casted Will Smith to be in Bad Boys. It is about 2 detectives in Miami who have to solve a crime about a bunch of cocaine being stolen from their police precinct.
It was brilliant. It was foolproof. It was the perfect crime. But for Miami detectives Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry,
Buenos dias, mi amor.
it was the ultimate nightmare.
This was our career bust, which is what, $100 million?
Just do what you do, only faster.
Let's try to do this right. No gunshots, no dead bodies. Well, you know, if I recall correctly, the last couple dead bad guys belong to you. Please, you ain't even trying to compare body counts. Should I keep going all day? I'm out.
Now, this case
We got 72 hours before the FBI and the DEA walk in here and shut us down.
You know, you drive almost slow enough to drive Miss Daisy.
this murder, and this witness.
You ain't with the bad guys now. You with the cops.
This is your getaway car? What is this, a family station wagon? Oh my God, you got a baby seat in the back.
Are going to put them
Look at you. Look at you. Can you stay focused?
What are you talking about? I'm focused.
Yeah, focused on all this scattered ass around here.
To the ultimate test. Columbia Pictures presents
Don't be alarmed, we're Negroes. Oh, man, no, that's too much bass in your voice. That scare white folks.
Martin Lawrence,
We were wondering if we can borrow some brown sugar.
Will Smith,
You see, you something wrong with you.
What's up?
the law will be served. Justice will be done.
You forgot your boarding pass.
And boys will be boys. Bad boys.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
I think it's an inside job, and it might have turned out to be. In this movie, there is a girl who ends up, or a woman who ends up witnessing a murder happen. They have to find her and then find out who took the drugs and solve the crime of who robbed the precinct. This movie is, of course, a buddy cop movie. That's why it has to be number one for me. It is probably the second best buddy cop series of all time, in my opinion. Lethal Weapon will always be number one. Bad Boys being number two. Rush Hour and 48 Hours would be 3 and 3B for me, whichever comes first. And then probably Beverly Hills Cop would be in fifth, right? Because I ain't gonna say fourth because I got 3A, 3B. We gonna keep talking about it. So this movie was the perfect matchup. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in the 90s, in the 2000s when they made the second one, and then even in the 2020s, I think, because the movie just came out this year, they still got it. Like, it is legitimately one of the funniest and best action comedy movies that you will see, right? I honestly would give this movie a 5 out of 5. The first one a 5 out of 5. The second one will probably get a 4 out of 5, and the third one will probably get a 3 out of 5. It went down. The director changed for the third one. But legitimately, as far as Will Smith and Martin Lawrence go, they still hit their mark as far as them being funny together, right? It's just the story gets a little quirky by the time it gets to the third one. Gabrielle Union was in the second one. She's Martin Lawrence's sister. Her and Will Smith got a thing going on. There's a lot to talk about. But as far as it being based in Miami, it legitimately shows the cocaine cowboy-esque nature of Miami, as far as cocaine being one of the driving factors that honestly helped Miami get to being one of the richest cities in the United States. For those that don't know, right? We are kind of the cocaine capital outside of Colombia. That's where they bring a lot of drugs in, is through the Port of Miami. So shout out to Rick Ross for Port of Miami. One, I didn't really like Port of Miami 2, but you know, we ain't gonna get into it. So my number 2 favorite movie of all time based in Miami is Any Given Sunday, starring Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, and I want to say Bill Bellamy's in it. Lawrence Taylor's in it, for those who are New York Giants fans, wherever you guys are. Who else is in this movie? T.O. makes a cameo as a wide receiver. Jim Brown, I believe, is a defensive coordinator in the movie. Al Pacino is the star of the movie. He's the head coach. It's a great movie. The NFL was initially on board with doing it, so it was really going to be a Miami Dolphins instead of being the Miami Sharks. But when the NFL saw that they were going to show the grittier side of the NFL and the day-to-day part of what some players do, they was like, nah, we ain't finna have y'all embarrass us. So they pulled it. So they ended up being the Miami Sharks instead of Miami Dolphins. And history was made.
I've sweated blood for these men. Given up my wife, my children for these men. I've given up everything I have for these men. Game is all that matters to me, because it's pure. It's safe. Life isn't.
Any given Sunday, a legend will fall.
I need you to lead this team.
Tony, I'll be there for you.
I am not re-signing a $7 million a year, 39-year-old quarterback, no matter how great he was.
Cap helped build this franchise, which you benefited from.
Don't you give up on me.
You're like a son to me, Cap. I'll fight for you till the day I die.
Any given Sunday, a hero will rise.
Make me a believer!
And on any given Sunday, tradition will be broken.
He's changing the plays. Just does what he likes.
You run the plays, I call.
I've been warming the bench the whole time I've been in the pros. I don't plan on going back. I am QB. You're a king in your own mind.
He may sell a lot of t-shirts, this kid, but he's tearing this team apart.
Well, then you hold it together.
Knock it off!
Why the hell do you think my father put me in charge, a bullheaded moron? You got old. No intensity. No victory. Where the hell is your intensity, Tony?
Any given Sunday, life is a contact sport.
I did not know up until a couple weeks ago, or maybe earlier this week. Time kind of goes weird for me in my head. But did you know that Puff Daddy was going to be playing Willie Beeman instead of Jamie Foxx? You know how shitty of a movie that might have been? I could just hear Puff Daddy saying, take that, after every one of his lines. It just would not flow the same way. So thank you, Jamie Foxx, for taking the role, even though you and LL Cool J got into a scuffle or two on the set. That sucks. But hey, this movie is about Jamie Foxx being I want to say third string quarterback. He ends up taking the starting role after the first two quarterbacks get injured, and he ends up taking off. Kind of like, I hate to bring up Colin Kaepernick, but Colin Kaepernick was the backup, for those that don't know, for the 49ers. And then once Alex Smith took off, once Alex Smith got hurt, he took the reins and kind of ran with it. They tried to bring the starting quarterback back at some point in time. He gets hurt again because he's old. But yeah, and it's a very interesting movie if you like to see what goes on with football players and football teams with drugs, steroid usage, injuries. And yeah, it's honestly my favorite football movie of all time. Only one that competes with it is Remember the Titans, but that's for a different reason. Remember the Titans is based off a true story, and it's a very passionate movie. If you've never seen that, please go check out Remember the Titans 2. It should be on Disney Plus for those that don't know. And then my third movie of all time based in Miami, I would have to say, is Scarface. Scarface, again starring Al Pacino. Al Pacino loves the city of Miami. Is a Cuban refugee who comes to Miami and ends up being one of the biggest drug kingpins of all time.
Okay, so what do you call yourself? Huh? ¿Cómo se llama?
Antonio Montana. And you? What you call yourself?
Where'd you learn to speak the English, Tony?
In a school. And my father, he was from the United States. Yeah, just like you know. He was a Yankee. He used to take me a lot to the movies, you know. I learned. I watched the guys like Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney. They teach me to talk. I like those guys. I always know one day I'm coming here, United States.
1980, Miami. They called it Little Havana, where the American dream had a price tag, and only one man in a million was hungry enough to pay.
This country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Scarface. For one brief moment, the world was his. He loved the American dream with a vengeance.
He starts off as a cook, I want to say, or he has to do a murder in like a type of like a quarantine that they had for Cubans back in the day. And then once he committed the murder, he was allowed outside the quarantine. They let him into Miami. It's a weird way that he got in. He ends up growing big, getting a huge ego, killing some people, selling some drugs, taking out Colombian bosses, I think, or Cuban bosses, head of Cuban cartel, something like that. And this movie is probably like one of the greatest, or probably the greatest classic hood movie of all time. I think like legitimately everyone loves this movie. Like this movie was, I was told when this movie came out in the 80s that this movie stayed in theaters for like 6 months. Mind you, didn't have a bunch of movies come out like we do nowadays, but man, for a movie to be in the theater for 6 months, people still be going to see it, that just shows you how great of a movie it is. I would honestly like to say that those 3 movies kind of really depict what life in Miami is like to a certain extent. I mean, of course, it's gonna be glorified because it's in movies, but drugs, I ain't say dirty cops, but drugs, police having to solve crimes that probably would never happen in certain other cities, and then beefs between normal human beings. I didn't want to pick any movies that were like unknown movies because I figured people wouldn't really know or relate to them. But yeah, those are my 3 favorite movies that are based in Miami of all time. I do want to say shout out to the Miami Heat again for having that 2-0 lead over the Boston Celtics. We got to keep the pressure on, keep our boots on their throats, you know what I'm talking about? So we can finish this series off and we can go ahead and take it to the chip. You know what I mean? I would love to see the Miami Heat versus the LA Lakers or the Denver Nuggets, preferably the Denver Nuggets in the championship. So Denver, if you're listening, go ahead, take it from them, big dog, because I really think that the Miami Heat have the best chance against the Denver Nuggets because LeBron James and the onslaught of big men that they have would be hellacious for us. But hey, I still think we could pull it off either way. Just throwing it out there. So again, thank y'all for pulling up and kicking in with Treco ENT. Like, share, subscribe. I will definitely have links in the subscription below, in the description. I think I said that right. Initially I said subscription. The description below. If you enjoy my gaming videos, I usually do stream at night, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on twitch.tv/Treco ENT. The link will be below. Thank y'all for pulling up. I appreciate it. Let's go Miami Heat. Let's win this championship. Take it easy.